Well, I didn't. I wasn't sending anything. Yeah. She was at the Vatican last night.
Oh, you're kidding. Wow, thank you, everybody.
Okay, can we go now?
What a surprise. God.
We've been talking about it.
How about a cocktail, Rollie?
I need one.
Jackie's got you right.
What do you want? I'm ready.
Tequila.
What's your drink of choice,
Up
Rollie?
top.
Zach.
Edie hit him
How
hard.
about a
The fog.
shitty mule me, Phil?
Mule him!
Mule me.
Mule him.
Hey, that's not a phrase you can say in Texas.
Rollie for
Oh, it is.
I made that mistake once.
Oh, that's great.
Rollie? So you tell us that you don't have anything?
No. Oh, that's great. No, I didn't.
I know, it's silly people in this room who
I'm
can't keep a secret.
Tim's brother-in-law, Jeff, said, oh, you're going to see Tim for your 80th birthday. Yeah, so I didn't pursue it, I didn't ask any questions, but I didn't expect this. So your daughter's coming. John, happy birthday, Lord. The word is yeast. For you Wordle people, it's yeast.
So surprised. You had no idea.
What? Boy, you blew it today.
All greens, like all the way down to try number 5.
Yeah, that's right.
He's been waiting to go back to this party.
He's gonna get the lake ready for you.
That's right. You're going.
Okay, we all know why we're here tonight. To celebrate the 80th birthday of a legend. You want to know the coolest thing about celebrating his birthday? We're all here as Rollie's buying the drinks. It really doesn't get any better than that. Okay, let me just go over the ground rules for tonight. There are no ground rules. Okay, we all got the invite from Barbie that said, no lies, we want to hear the real stories. So just so everybody knows, if this morphs into the Tom Brady roast, so be it. Because, as Rollie has told us so many times on the golf course, I've never kept anything from Christina and Barbie, so they've already heard these stories.
I really doubt it.
Anyway, it's pretty cool. 80 years, 8 decades. He's still usually upright. A couple days a week he's usually sober. And my favorite is, there's a couple days a week when he leaves the restaurant, he's got his wallet, his credit card, and he can find his car. All right? So here's what we're going to do. Everybody's got a Rollie story. Anybody who wants to grab the mic, go ahead. Some people have already told me when they would like to. A lot of you people have told me when you'd like to speak and how much time you'd like. But anyhow, we'll start from there. Dr. Vitale has asked me first up, so we will start with Phil.
Okay.
Just hit play.
You got it?
You got it?
Yeah.
Look at what he's technology savvy.
I've known Rollie for many years, and I'd just like to go through the history of my association with him. Everybody knows what a brilliant golfer he is. So as you can see here, you have his swing. And it's really cool, that little, after impact, that little step back move he has there. So, so then, everybody knows what a great fisherman he is. Now, Rover, how much did he pay you for you to give him that fish?
Nobody's holding that fish way out.
Okay. Uh-oh, I screwed up.
You moved it.
Here we go. Every year, Rollie goes back to Rhode Island. He goes to see family members, and he always sends me a picture of the steamed clams he's eating. And then he eats lobster, he eats clam chowder, and then he pays the bill. And then I'd like to show you a picture to the only threat of his and Barbie's relationship. There he is, right there.
Oh, that's so good.
So when Rollie was thinking about running for the board, people used to say, Rollie, you got to read the rules, you got to read the dress code, you got to read what you can and can't do in the club. And so there's Rollie. Okay? His first year on the board, there's Rollie. Vice president, there's Rollie. President of the club, there's Rollie. His response? So what's going on now? We see him as president with his shirt untucked. What's his response, if you might? And last but not least, on the 12th hole, under the guise of him having back pain, he pulls down his pants on the tee and rubs icy hot on his butt.
Wow.
Rollie, happy birthday.
Can somebody please turn off the TV?
Hey, there you go. There you go.
Wait a minute, that's not Rollie. That's not Rollie.
Yes, it is.
Could adjust it. Chesley would be proud.
Yeah, Phil, I know you took a lot of pictures.
I did.
But during inappropriate times.
I know.
Thank
People
you.
should just plan on coming up when they're ready to say something. One thing that I know comes to mind with a lot of us, a man who was born in Rhode Island, kind of grew up there in his early years, moves to Minnesota, and immediately adopts every sports team in the state of Minnesota. I don't know how long he's been there, let's say 30 plus years. How many championship parades do you think he's been a part of? Think about it. He could have picked any team. Hell, he lived in Rhode Island. He could have picked the Patriots. He'd have won Super Bowls. But instead, it's Minneapolis. All right, who's next?
I'll go next. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tim Adelman. I know many of you guys. I've been partners with Rollie since the early days at Abra. And Rollie's a mentor to me, good friend, kind of stuck by me through thick and thin. And I think that, so when you have a partner who's also a best friend that you can count on, it's something you can take to the bank every day. So, Rollie, happy birthday. Now, I do have something that I'm going to need your help. So, when we started Abra, we invested with, GE invested in our company, we did background checks. So I came out pretty clean. I had a couple of driving things. Randy, our other former partner, he had pretty clean record. And Rollie, he had a couple of run-ins, and there's really nobody that can tell this story better than Rollie. So Rollie, can you come up here and tell us what happened with the DNR officer in South Dakota when you were hunting? This is a story that you will never forget, for sure, and nor will many people after he tells it. So come on up, Rollie, you can tell it.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. So anyway, I was hunting in the Black Hills of South Dakota, Bill Ice country, right? Turkey hunting in the spring. And you're allowed one turkey. You can shoot one turkey. And the outdoors editor for the Star Tribune, the sports editor, Ron Sheriff, it was his camp. And he had DNR officers and game wardens as guides. So I had a game warden this morning, and you got to get out there early because the turkeys are up in the trees. They can't, they don't have night vision, so they fly up in the trees and roost in the trees. And so we're, you know, we're in the dark. He gets the hen decoy set out there. He's got the turkey caller, and there was like a hill to the left. And we hear these turkeys gobbling. They gobble when they fly down out of the trees when it gets light. So all of a sudden they're coming up the hill, and he's talking to them, turkey talk. And we took the head decoys out front, and he says, whatever you do, be careful, you know, you only can shoot one turkey. I said, sure, I know. So we got 12 gauge shotguns, number 6 Magnum shotgun shells. You got to shoot them in the head if you're going to get one. And so here they come off the hill, and I got on one of them, but about the time I'm pulling the trigger, 2 more run up behind him. And I pull the trigger, and I got 3 flopping. I got 3 flopping on the ground. And he was pretty straight-laced, you know. And so he just went into a fit. And I said, hey, I'm sorry, I'm not a game hog. I follow the rules and regulations, but, you know, those 2 ran up by the time I pulled the trigger. So anyway, the long and short of it was, I got two charges. I got I don't know if it was a major misdemeanor or something, and then I got barred from hunting in South Dakota. And the following year, though, he was no longer a guide of the camp.
He never got invited back.
Yeah, he never got invited back. So, you know, in a sense, you know, a lot of guys go turkey hunting, never get a turkey. You think I would have gotten a trophy or something?
One Johnny
turkey. Happy birthday, Rollie.
There was a big fine, too.
Yeah, there was $500 fine.
I recall, Tim, the story that I have with both of these 2 robberies. You know, I thought the other member was, I know he was invited, but he's not here. We have a member that retired at the ripe young age of 50 or 52. And he has 2 homes. He belongs to 2 country clubs. And he only had 1 fucking body shop. These 2 guys own 200 and something. So, what the fuck? You guys, you need to share a little of that money.
You're not so damn private equity guys.
Yeah, the private equity
Right
guys,
there.
you know.
Right there.
Greg was out.
So anyway, Rollie, happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry.
Well, I'm Greg Newmark, and I had the privilege and opportunity to work with both Tim and Rollie when they were running Abra. We invested and didn't realize what a tough business the auto body repair business was. And we wondered if Rollie may not have been too nice a guy to be the CEO of an auto body repair business. Well, we did okay in the investment, and then I got here. I didn't realize Rollie was a member here, and but his bona fides as a too nice a guy definitely traveled with him here as well, because as the electronic golf cart, push carts came around, Rollie clearly felt sorry for Rob Stewart and some of the other people that managed to drive them into the ponds, and to make them feel better, he drove his own in, what, at least a couple of times, right, Rollie? At any rate.
Yeah, I think it was twice.
At any rate, it's been a privilege both working with you and now playing with you, and congratulations on number 8.
Just to piggyback off of Greg Newmark's comments on the electric push carts, I get to play with Rollie and the guys on Wednesdays and Fridays. And I remember a few years ago when you got your first electric cart. We almost missed our tea time because you're too busy fucking around, you know, trying to get it out of the car, put it together, and this and that. David Williams, you were in my group that day.
I'm still playing golf then.
That was a long time ago, David. We're coming down number 8, and you're still trying to figure out how to work this stupid control. Numerous times during the round, we would get ready to hit our shot, and all of a sudden there'd be a cart just flying right away. It wasn't Mike Good, it was actually Rollie. So get to number 8, I'm with David Williams, we're on the green, and Rollie's trying to make the cart go around so he can get it up to the 9th tee. Well, sure enough, as he's putting, he has to take his glove off first, for those of you that know. And he has to go like this. We're like, Rollie. He goes, oh shit. There goes the cart into the pond. David Williams tries to pull it out, catch it. He almost goes in the way. We get the cart out of the water. You get the little control. And now the cart goes zooming up to the wall against the compost place, and it's just digging. It's right in the trench. Just digging and digging. One other time, you dumped it in the bunker on number 2, which I was very proud of you, right in the middle of the fairway, because you couldn't control it.
Could happen to anybody.
But in recent years, you've elevated, you've matured, and you're driving the cart beautifully.
Oh, very good.
And I'm proud to have you as a partner. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Jim. You know, if I could just elaborate a little more in my own defense.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm coming up to the 8th green. I set it between the lake and the bunker.
First mistake.
Okay, and out my ball's on the front of the green, and it gets behind. I navigate it behind the green, and then all of a sudden it was too far out. I had no control, and then I had to watch. I watched the cart going toward the lake, and I watched David. He was doing about a 4.40. I'm the second one. I watched David spreading. Just about the time. Just about the time he was going to grab it. It did like remember laughing. He used to fall over with the trike. David went to get it and went. All right, sorry about
I'm just glad I haven't been blamed yet for selling it to you.
Rollie was the first.
Playing with Rollie, Alderman, I don't know who else was there, we're putting out on number 7. And all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, Aldy's got about a 10-foot putt. I see this cart coming from the corner of my eye, and Rollie runs his cart right through the 7th green, up over the 7th green, over the hill. So then we get to the 9th hole, and Aldy scopes it, and he says, 161 yards. Rollie says, I only got 147. And I scope it, and I said, no, it's 161. And Rollie says, what's that M mean on near the 147?
You're ready to scream over, huh? Can I wander up there?
Absolutely.
You got a t-shirt on.
Not a t-shirt.
My wife said I don't put a short all day. My wife said, if I ever get that thin, I'm gonna buy a t-shirt. You're going.
So, I'm gonna go shop.
I don't think it's good that they tease you about all the golf stuff, golf cart stuff. You're a technical wizard, and I think this story will prove it. I think as I look around the room, I might be the newest member of Pinnacle Country Club. One of the first times I came there, I had the good fortune of sitting at a round table, and Rollie was just entranced with his phone. And I couldn't figure it out. I said, Rollie, what the fuck are you looking at? Because I can't get my email to work. It's so slow, it's operating so slow. Jack, you're the computer guy, you know, okay, fine, let me look at it, Rollie. So, I get there, and this is what it's saying, and I open it up, and there were 2,734 unread. So I sat there and I said, what the fuck do you do with this thing? And he goes, well, I just kind of look at them. I said, well, do you ever read an email? You don't think you just tap it to read it, it'll become unread. Really? The term boomer seems to be... So I sat there and said, okay, I'll try to help you, but do you ever put these in folders? Well, what's a folder? Okay, Rollie. Sometimes you might want to keep these emails for later on. I could have talked to my golden retriever and gotten more of a response in terms of recognition. I've never seen somebody when their eyes just glass over and you're talking a foreign language to them. So I went there and I said, okay, Rollie, I'm going to go. Do you mind if I just erase it? Since you don't read them. You know, you're going to find this hard to believe. There were emails in there that were 4 years old, unread. And he couldn't figure out why, when he turned on his phone, the little thing just kept going, woo, 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 woo. The little thing was saying, the fuck, Rollie, will you get rid of these so I don't have to do this every time I turn on the phone? That was my introduction to Rollie Bennett.
Yeah, but Jack, in my defense,
Now this I did good, Rollie.
90% of them were from Terry Monroe.
Well, you should have been reading those.
Close the door and he didn't have doors.
Rollie, it's an honor and a pleasure to know you, sir. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And those should be in folder.
Sure.
Hi guys, Nick Templars. Rollie, you were one of the first to welcome me here at the club, and I've always had this very special, caring and loving relationship with you, but I have to say, those friends here, no one said anything about Dancing with the Stars yet.
Oh.
And I think it'd be only appropriate, Rollie, if you showed us what dance moves you still remember.
You're looking at it. You're looking at it.
I'd like to see that outfit again.
If there's a picture of the outfit, I think that ought to go on that screen there. That was well done. Rollie is not the only dancer in the room here from Dancing with the Stars that night. Maybe someone off to my left. Happy birthday, Rollie.
Thank you, thank you.
Hey, you look like Zorro.
Diamond Dave,
Dave, come ahead.
No,
This is gonna take 2 seconds.
Well, good, because mine's 30.
Any of y'all that want to give Rollie or me or any of us any crap about Dancing with the Stars, you clearly did not see who we were dancing with.
As close as you get to a Heidi like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, there's many of us here who spend Thursday afternoons at the cigar bar listening to these stories, and it dawned on me just recently, if you hear Rollie talk about the golf lessons he's taken in recent years, it's all the time, it's every week. And there are guys that are very, very famous instructors. Rollie's like a 14. If he hadn't spent thousands of dollars on golf lessons, he could probably buy another house or two. So, I'm looking to see who may want to come up next, because we're saving a couple prize things for the end. Tommy, you have anything from the Minnesota days for all of us?
I don't have any roasting stories.
Sorry.
I've known Rollie a long time. We were one of the first hunting dealers picked in Minnesota. From there, we had some hunting trips with David and Rollie to Argentina. We've had ski trips with his family. Been a partner in one body shop with Tim and Rollie. They saved my assets, another story.
You only had one?
Only one?
Oh, shit.
And it was a good one. But Rollie is the epitome of a gentleman. And I have nothing to roast him by, but they don't come any nicer, they don't come any more generous. And we've been good friends, we've done a lot of stuff together. About 4 years ago when I bought down here, I'm in the cigar bar by myself in the back outside. All of a sudden I see this guy go by, it's Rollie. He goes, what are you doing here? I said, well, what are you doing here? Anyway, so I got invited to the Thursday cigar group with all you Pinnacle guys on Thursday, as you can see. It's been fun listening to all your stories from here. But anyway, happy birthday, and it's been a pleasure and an honor to be your friend.
Very good, Tom.
Oh, no, no.
There we go.
So I'm a distinguished member of the Thursday afternoon cigar club. For you guys that have not been there, you should really show up at the Cedar Room on Thursday afternoons at 3 o'clock. All of the great decisions of this club emanate from there sooner or later. Their past presidents, Phil, Rollie. So I'm there, and Phil says to me one day, we're talking, and Rollie said something, and Phil goes, well, that's the fob. And I go, what's the fob? He goes, that's Rollie. I go, I never heard that before. And he goes, wait, you'll see. So about 30 minutes later, we're out to pay our bill. You might have been there, Dave. And Rollie goes, I don't have my credit card. I said, I've got it. So, covered the bill. 2 weeks later, Rollie leaves. We're paying up our bills and someone comes down, hey, we've got Rollie's credit card. And Bill turns to me and says, that's the fob.
The Rollie roast. Hey, Rollie. 74, huh?
Yeah, almost. Okay, just one last story about the origination of the fob. So a bunch of us went to Andreoli's one day. We had 2 cars, I'm riding back with Rollie, and Rollie starts saying, hey Phil, you know, when I was in college, my second year in the fraternity house, we just had this phone in the lobby, a payphone, and he said, I used to get calls and the guys used to come and get me. Well, the first call, he said, a woman called them, and they were looking for Rollie the Bod, as he was known. Okay, then he says, you know what, my fraternity brothers, they would think that I wasn't paying attention or I didn't hear them, and they gave me a nickname. And I said, Rollie, now let me tell you right now, don't tell me that nickname if you don't want me to tell everybody. So he said, no, that's okay. They used to call me the Fog. So now, when people say to me, hey, Rollie, you didn't hear me, you didn't understand, maybe he's losing it a little bit. I said, no, don't worry about it. He's been that way for 65 years.
He had another nickname in college. It wasn't the Fog.
What was it?
It was the Bod.
The bod, yeah.
Rollie,
I'm glad you brought that
That
up.
was from all the girls. That was all the girls.
Speaking of the bod, give her the mic. There was a time when we were all sitting in the grill room one day, like this never happens. Rollie really got liquored up. And Rollie is not one to talk about these things very often. However, that particular day, he felt the need to tell us about back when he was manning the linebacker position over at the University of Rhode Island. And we all know Rhode Island football. We all know that. So evidently, they're playing that scrappy bunch from the University of Connecticut. Okay, so this had to be 40-some years ago. And the guy rolls out to the side, tries to lob it over that linebacker's head. And as Rollie tells the story, I one-handed it. Was going to knock it down, but instead I pulled it in and I went the distance for a touchdown. And he's still a legend for that, because not everybody here knows that. UConn, Rhode Island's a huge rivalry.
Yeah, really. Was that
But more importantly, after he told that story, he went on to tell us a story about that night with one of the cheerleaders. Again, was very un-Rollie-like, but it's been now quoted for years, so I felt the need to bring that back up again. And now that we have some new people in the room who I know have Rollie stories, any of you would be welcome to jump up here. If you don't, we're going to have to go with Edmo.
Do I have to go all the way up there?
Come on, Edmo, get up there.
Okay.
Be nice now.
Rollie's been neighbors with, I don't know, 55 people in the last 2 months. We were neighbors back in the, I don't know, it's gotta be 10 years ago, Rollie, you think? And I think, was it your anniversary forgot, or your...
Barbie's birthday.
Barbie's birthday, but I don't remember what it was.
That would be today.
Well, Barbie's birthday, happy birthday, Barbie. But I got the inside scoop from my wife, who was chatting with Barbie, like, I think he forgot it's our anniversary or birthday. She would remember. But you then went down to the pro shop.
Actually,
In your
defense.
I think it was Valentine, we were ready on Valentine's Day.
No, it was your anniversary. It was more important than that.
That was way more important. The Fox. Well, I guess the Fox.
This is the Fox, we're good. But he then went down to the pro shop and purchased some jewelry from the pro shop and gave it to Barbie as a gift. The next day, he took it back.
Barbie made him take it back.
But as a neighbor, a friend, and a guy I really respect, happy birthday to you. It's awesome.
Thank you, dear.
Good job, man.
Happy birthday, Rollie. I have not a bad word to say. I wish I did.
Kyle.
Maybe Tim.
Of course, you're on retainer.
Happy birthday.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's
Amazing.
You're property.
You know, following up on Slut's toast, maybe Rollie could come up here and tell us about the all-time high story.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Rollie, yes! Let's get up here, Rollie.
Hi.
I can tell if you don't remember.
Oh my.
You know, sometimes I have to say I'm honest to a fault. And it has got me in trouble over the years. But anyway, Barbara was maybe, I think she was in her underwear in the bathroom. And I just made a comment. I says, "Are you at an all-time high?"
Oh my God.
Needless to say, I didn't get lucky that night. Many events thereafter. Well, you know, she was fine. She was fine with the comment, but she happened to tell a few girlfriends. And of course, it spread like wildfire. And then Nate Paget gets me a hat that says all-time high. So anyway, sorry, sweetie.
I opened the can of worms.
Thank you, Dino.
Okay, DW, everybody can realize.
Yeah.
Okay, last chance. Anybody?
Well,
Newcomers?
Last chance? Did you say last chance?
Ed Williams has never seen a microphone he doesn't like.
Oh,
Well,
I'm ready.
I'm ready. Excuse me. This might take a while.
We got 2 hours?
Keep the bar open.
More drinks. Anybody got a pillow?
Let's order drinks.
So periodically, our good friend Terry Monroe invites a group up to Seven Canyons. So a few years ago, we go up there, so it's a long drive up, we play golf all day, have a few beers afterwards, we're on the road coming down the interstate on the way back. Ed Mo's in the car. Terry's
Thank God that knows what it costs.
Terry and I are in the back seat. Rollie is driving. All of a sudden, Ed Mo grabs his arm. We'd have been in the ditch and off the road.
Just take a little nap. Just take a little nap. Long drive.
Sounds like driving through the 4-way stops and Carefree.
We have 2 cars.
Aerobics. If you hit his or all Adam's car, it went right through the 4-way stop on the...
Hey, Mark, I'm talking
On the
now.
way to...
Hey, Mark, I'm talking now.
On the way to...
Watch out, Mafia's up there.
Yeah.
Oh, heck, it's funny.
The world's shortest book is Wisdom Gleaned from the Cedar Room on Thursday nights. When I got the invitation that Rollie was having his 80th birthday, I thought, wow, 80. Rollie, you don't look 80. I remember when you did.
Okay, DW.
Okay, now for your listening pleasure.
Theo.
Pride of Houston, Texas is with us tonight. Elvis, the microphone is yours.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Barb, I just want to tell you that we have something in common. I too am at my all-time high. And Rollie wants nothing to do with me either. Rollie, I consider you a very good friend. And so last night, for the first time in a long time, I sat down and I wrote a little comedy bit. But I don't consider you a great friend. Otherwise, I would have memorized the bit. So I'm going to read from the iPad. In my very short and lackadaisical career in comedy, there were several occasions when I was asked to roast someone. And I learned that the first rule of roasting is that you only tease and say bad things about those you love. So I guess today, looks like I'm gonna have to break rule number one. Because let's be honest, nobody really likes Rollie. So loving him, that'd be quite a stretch, and I'm sure you can attest to that, Barbara. But before I go any further, how about a round of applause for the real birthday person, our birthday girl, Barbara. And thank you so much for planning this event. Rollie, buying drinks for everyone may not be the best way to discover who your true friends are, but it certainly assures a good turnout at Pinnacle Peak. And early afternoon's the perfect time for a geriatric birthday party. Rollie, we think, if I make this a little shorter, you can still be home in bed by 6. That is, assuming you figure out which of your multiple homes you're supposed to sleep in. In the short time that I've known Rollie Benjamin, he's lived in more places than a mafia rat in a witness protection program. And now that you're about to turn 80, buddy, I think maybe it's time to settle down and stay in a place that you can truly call home. Ideally, a home whose first name is nursing. I mean, it's time. Just take a look at this guy. I mean, look at him. He doesn't know where he is. I'm just kidding. You know, age is just a matter of mind. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. You believe that, don't you, Rollie? Of course you do. Well, I'm here to tell you that's a load of crap. Anytime I hear an old fart say that phrase, it's usually right before they start drooling in their soup. And now drooling may not matter to the 80-plus set, but it's the kind of thing that scares the shit out of us younger folk. And let's face it, pal, a lot of people start to lose it when they turn 80, but not you. No, you obviously got a very early start. I've only known Rollie for 5.5 years, but in that short time, he has lost his credit card twice, left his computer bag outside, curbside at the airport, has waited in the fairway for his turn to hit when the rest of his group was already putting on the green, and has steered his electric push cart into a driving range stand, a lake, a sand trap, 2 walls, across 1 green, and into 3 people. Now, let's be generous here and just call all of these past lapses, events, just mental lapses. The real important I'm trying to make from that is that all of those things occurred before this man turned 80. I'd say, therefore, the odds are pretty high that sometime in the next 5 years, he's probably going to show up for a tea time in a loose-fitting robe and a Golden Gophers helmet. And we'll all be okay with that as long as he leaves the damn remote-controlled push cart in the trunk. Either that or he has to buy football helmets for the rest of us. Rollie clearly has trouble with remotes. Barbara told me he once tried to answer his cell phone by picking up the TV remote. His daughter was calling, but he said all he could hear was Sports Center. Yeah, I know, you laugh, but it's happened to nobody except Rollie. Look, getting old as hell, your brain and your body, they've been together for a long time, but like in a marriage, one day they just suddenly don't get along anymore. And I get it. Although I'm much, much younger than you, Rollie, my being badly out of shape gives me a sense of what it must be like to be your age. I'm only 68, but I'm already forgetful, achy, and incontinent, so I have a pretty good idea of what it must feel like to turn 80. They say that an IQ of 80 and an age of 80 are pretty much the same. I mean, both mean you can still function, but not as well as the rest of us. But take a look at this guy. What an enigma. The picture of health. That is, if you're looking at a really old picture. But still, he stays fit. What do you weigh, Rollie? Seriously, what do you weigh?
210.
Not bad. That's pretty good. That's what my doctor says I need to lose. But honestly, you are. You're still in great shape. It's impressive. Barbara told me that in college you were a star football player and a physical specimen, and we've already heard they gave you the nickname the Bod. Of course, Phil Vitale has already told that story, but we all agree the Fog is a much more apt nickname for you today. But God bless you. You still do athletic things to keep yourself young. I mean, who among us can forget his performance at the club's Dancing with the Stars event a few years back? I know we've all tried to. His movements that night bring to mind one word: bow. That's right, Rollie, I'm saying it was shit. That's what I'm saying. Thankfully, his act was saved by a talented Arthur Murray dance instructor who had to make the difficult choice between dancing a tango with Rollie or committing suicide. It was a true coin flip situation for the poor girl. Now, a lot of you don't know Rollie's life story, and I get it. I didn't want to know anything about him either. But I did some research, though in fairness, I didn't want to spend a lot of time on the details. So some of what I'm about to share with you might not be truly accurate, sort of like the handicaps of some people in this room. Anyway, here are my Cliff Notes version of This Is Your Life, Rollie Benjamin. He was born on May 22nd, 1945 in Providence, Rhode Island, and soon became known what we now call a special child. But back then it was okay to be less politically correct, so his parents just called him dipshit. He developed a keen sense of interest in what would ultimately become his business career when, at the age of 13, Rollie wrecked his radio-controlled toy car because he didn't know how to control the remote. A harbinger of future trouble with handheld control devices. The young Rollie, he patched up that little car and he sold it to a classmate as brand new, thus foreshadowing his future as an auto glass repair con man. He played football for the University of Rhode Island, a school and state so small that tryouts were, if you knew which side of a jockstrap cup where it went, you were made a star. In the 60s, he served as an officer in the Army in Okinawa, mainly because the Army was concerned that sending him to Vietnam would only make the war effort there worse than it already was. While in Okinawa, Rollie served his country by becoming the coach of the base's football team. They won only one game that season, defeating a local geisha girls team in overtime. When he returned stateside, he started his auto and glass business that would eventually grow to 200, 300 locations. As president of the company, he got to know other nefarious characters in the automotive business, people like Terry Monroe. He then met Barbara on his first blind date. Not knowing what the term meant, he was happily surprised when he found out she could see. They fell in love and have now been married for over 43 years, or as Barb calls it, a life sentence without possibility of parole. After making $2 billion from the sale of his company, he promptly lost all but $20 million by betting on the Vikings to win an important game. And sure, $20 million was enough for a happy retirement life and a country club membership. So he proudly served as president of Pinnacle Peak and says that his greatest achievement that year was being impeached fewer times than either Clinton or Trump. There's probably more to his life story, but it's getting late and 80-year-olds need their naps. So, Rollie, I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you in front of your mutual friends. As some of you also may have noticed, I haven't been around much, played much golf lately. That's because my game has unfortunately become more akin to a prostate exam. It's a source of discomfort for me and an embarrassing thing to have any of my friends watch. So I want to thank you, Rollie. I want to thank you, Rollie, for helping me to see that a break from the game was in order. You first tried to give me that hint when you shucked me as your El Cadet partner this year. Which was the first time in a long time that anyone's seen you make a good decision. But then, out of guilt, you asked me to play with you in this year's Master Tournament, at which, in the second round, you posted an impressive 82 to best your partner's score by a mere 19 shots. If any of you are ever looking for an excuse to take a break from golf, getting a shot per hole from an 80-year-old man and having your net score come up short of his gross, I think that's a pretty good reason to take a sabbatical. All kidding aside, I've enjoyed every moment around Rollie Benjamin, both on and off the course. I first met Rollie on January 13th, 2020. A specific date that I remember because it happened to be both my birthday and the first time that Tina and I came into the grill room as new members. We didn't know anyone, and Rollie was sitting at that center big table, and along with a few people who were in this room, and Rollie got up and asked us to join him, where he proceeded to introduce us around and told me about the Wednesday-Friday game and said I should join. You know, I think back on that moment and how much better my life might have been had he not introduced me to you numbnuts. But I've come to forgive you for that, Rollie. The bottom line is Rollie is a consummate gentleman and a good friend who I can always count on for a hearty laugh at even my weakest bullshit. And I have come to appreciate, if not completely understand, his unique quirks, like his strangely gay attraction to Jordan Spieth, or his crazy notion that one day the Vikings will win a Super Bowl. While it can certainly be said that Barbara could have obviously done much better, I think I speak for the rest of us in saying, Rollie, that we could not have found a much better friend than you. So, happy 80th birthday, my friend, and we look forward to celebrating your 90th over soup and tapioca at the old folks' home where we all end up. Happy birthday, man.
Very good, Dave.
Awesome job, Dave.
Hey, I made
Finale.
$100 in this comment.
We've got one final presenter tonight, unless anybody else who has not had an opportunity. I don't want you to leave here and say, boy, I wish I would have gotten up and say something, because I know Edmo's so funny, I thought he would have said something by now. But, Mr. Robix, the podium is yours.
Oh, there we go.
Come on, Rover.
Well, I met Rollie, I don't know, 45 years ago through some odd circumstance. But anyway, I met my wife and I asked her to marry me, and she was in Mexico, and I got hammered up and I had called her on the phone. Asked her to marry me, and she said to all of her girlfriends, see, I told you. So anyway, a little time goes by, and I gotta go meet her parents. And Barbara said to Terry, Barbara's gonna bring a guy, and his name's Rollie Benjamin. I said, I know a Rollie Benjamin. So when he came out of the house, it wasn't the guy I knew. So I had nothing, there was nobody there. And her mother said, when are you guys getting married? And I said, when does it make fall? And she said, why so soon? Anyway, that started that. But anyway, Rollie and I have done lots and lots and lots together. Brother-in-law. And the only reason that we haven't had any arguments, he can't hear. So I'd say something, to get something started, you got nothing. You just look at it. But today I got something for you. So I'd like to have you come up here. And this is one of those things, you know, like a mystery bag.
Yeah.
And I want you to reach in there. See what you got. Now, open it up. And read what it says.
Oh my God. Rollie, thanks for being one of my biggest fans, Jordan Speed.
Anyway, the next day or two, you gotta write a thank you note to Bones.
Oh, Bones got it. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's terrific. Thank you, dear.
Very nice.
Is that gonna fit over your pillow and
Well done, Robert. Well done, Robert.
So now we've lost him for a minute.
Wow. That is the perfect ending for this. There's drinks, there's still food. Rollie, I hope you know how everybody loves you. This is a great day. Congratulations. And I hope you have many, many more.
Thanks.
And as we started this with, you are a legend and will continue to be one.
Thank you, dude.
You're welcome.
Although Rollie could still come up and say a few words if he was so inclined.
Who?
Rollie.
Very good.
I hate to be defensive, but I gotta put a few things aside. The fog, which I shared with Phil. Okay.
First mistake.
Okay, and I'm being defensive, all right, I get it. But anyway, I've always, you know, I've always, from youth, get focused on things, and I don't hear shit around me, okay? It's just, and Rollie, you know, like in the fraternity house. What? Because I get focused on one thing, and that's it. I'm in my own world with that one thing. So that's the fog. Don't intimate any more than that, Phil. Although I know there's some in the room that say, really?
Some?
What else? Thank you, sweetie, for doing this.
You're welcome.
Thank you, all the participants. Thanks for the work you did.
How would you describe the bod? Was it thick?
Well, it was a little better than it is today. No, I was dating this girl in one of the sororities.
Not Barbie.
No, Barbie was in Minnesota. She was too young. Anyway,
She was a child. Now it's all coming together. She was a child. Now it's all coming together.
I mean, this gal, I've taken her out a few times, and she calls the fraternity house, and one of the guys answers the phone, and she said, "Is Rollie the bod there?" Oh, boy. I had to live with that one for sure.
So are the Vikings going to the Super Bowl this year?
Exactly.
You're the boss.
You remember that.
What's that?
Vikings are going to the Super Bowl this year?
Absolutely.
There we go. Let's go.
Well, every time they go, they have a good outcome. Oh, they went 4 times and didn't win? Okay. Okay. No, thank you everybody for being here. You know, I've been, it's 13 years now, I'm a member of the club. I've come down years before that because David's been a member for 25 plus years. Come down, stay with him, play some golf. So when it came time to retire, buy a house in Arizona, I didn't care to look anywhere else. It's such a great club, people, the culture, everything's so great in the club. So I'm so glad for the last 13 years to be here at Mango Peak Country Club. Great friends, good time.
That's why you bought 5 houses.
What, DP?
That's why you bought 5 houses.
Is this the last move, sweetie?
This is the last move.
You're not at an all-time high anymore.
That's the way to close it.
I think you're at an all-time high.
Yeah, you might get lucky now.
Okay, and then for those of you who don't know, yes, Rollie does set his alarm to get up at 4 in the morning when Jordan is playing out east and his team off at 7. He can watch his boyfriend.
The worst is, I can tell you the worst. So I'll stream, you know, I stream ESPN Plus, right, so you can, and he's usually in a featured group, so you can kind of watch him almost exclusively. So the worst is the open, 2 in the morning. And I'll be up 2 in the morning. Why streaming it? Not so.
You're not be making that featured group much anymore.
Hey, maybe we'll buy you a TiVo for your birthday.
Oh. Well, anyway, thanks. Thank you. I was telling some of the guys that, so my dad's family, 5 boys, nobody lived to this age. Everybody, all the boys died young. Of course, my mom's side of the family, everybody lives to 90 or 100. So maybe I got a few good genes.
There you go.
Cheers to Rollie.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, everybody.
Good job there, David. That was a good.
Nice job, Rover.
David, that was very cool.
Yeah, very great.